One of the biggest mistakes that students make is making contradictory answers. When you make contradictory answers, you will get penalized for this. You will literally lose the mark that you would have otherwise gotten. And this didn't come from my brain. This came from a document that AQA made, by the way, so it is official. And basically, I'm going to give you an example that they gave here. The student becomes negatively charged because of the friction between his socks and the carpet. But the answer should be that the friction causes the electrons to move from blah 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 to blah blah blah. However, the student said the friction repels protons and attracts electrons, causing the student to become negatively charged. You are correct that the friction causes the electrons to move, aka attracts electrons. However, it is cancelled out by saying repels protons. Protons do not ever get repelled. Nothing ever happens to the protons. The protons are like the queen. They're guarded. Nothing ever happens to them. So because the student said repels protons, this literally cancelled out that grade and made them lose that mark, when otherwise it would have been a very easy mark. It's a 2-marker answer, by the way, so they lost 2 marks for this. Very sad. Another thing as well is that, another example, insulin cannot be taken as a tablet. This is because insulin is a type of protein. What would happen to the insulin in the tablet if it reached the stomach? So the person said here, it would be broken down into protease. The comment from the AQA exam board was that if the student hadn't written into protease, they could have scored the mark as this part is incorrect. Sorry about that. This part is incorrect science. Protease is your enzyme. That's the one that breaks down the proteins. It's not the one that it becomes broken down into. So what they said overall is that students should resist the temptation to keep writing to fill the space, as they may end up contradicting themselves or include wrong statements that affect the overall quality of the answer. So yeah, be careful with that. I'm going to be making a new series on top of my 52 past paper series, although I know I've not been very good at that. But I will be making a series on doing past papers with only wrong things that students make and see what score I get. Even though I know the knowledge and even though I write some of the things properly, I'm still going to incorporate some of the mistakes that you guys make, including really silly ones like filling in the blanks but only circling the answers without actually writing it down, and then seeing what I get with that. So yeah, good luck.